Hey guys, it's Jason Dunn here from Laptop Thoughts, and this is my review video of the Samsung QX410. This is a laptop that has a 14-inch screen, 2.53 gigahertz Intel Core i5 processor, 4 gigs of RAM, 640 gig hard drive, and an NVIDIA GeForce 310M graphics card. So, if you haven't already watched my unboxing video, I encourage you to go check that out so you can get a breakdown on all the different specs. This is my review video, and this is a little bit different than some of my other review videos. I've only had this product for a couple of weeks and I had to ship it back to Samsung, so that's a little bit different. I ran a bunch of benchmarks on it. I used it as much as I could over the past couple of weeks, and this review video will kind of show you what I think of the product. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to open this lid, and hopefully I can reposition the camera fast enough and you can watch it resume. One of the things that Samsung claims as being sort of a big feature for this particular product is a quick resume. It's about 3 seconds, and I think that's about average. Now, what I'm not too sure about is why this is so special. Any good, quality Windows laptop should resume in about 3 to 4 seconds, but the Samsung does it consistently, so that is to be appreciated. One of the things that I wasn't super fond of, and you can probably tell by looking at this video, is just the gloss on the screen. This is one of the glossiest screens I think I've ever seen on any laptop. I'm not a big fan of glossy screens, to be honest with you. I mean, this brightness, let me just double check here and make sure the brightness is all the way turned up. Yeah, so basically brightness is at 100%, and as you can tell, even with some basic overhead lights, there's still a lot of glare on this screen. So enough about that. Let's talk about the benchmarks and what it was like to actually use this product. It came with a little bit of bloatware. I uninstalled Norton Internet Security 2011. It took me 15 clicks to uninstall the Wild Tangent games. These things are the bane of my existence. You have to go into the control panel, go remove, and then you have to actually click 15 or 20 different times in order to remove all the programs. There's no remove all. Oh, I hate those stupid things. It also comes with Norton Online Backup and a Microsoft Office 2010 trial. Unfortunately, this is just kind of the way things go, but honestly, I would love it. I would be so impressed if a laptop OEM shipped a product that didn't come junked up with a bunch of stuff. Now, I will say that Samsung was better than some other products. A lot of HP laptops that I look at have so much stuff on it, it's ridiculous. But Samsung maybe is a little bit better than average, but there's still some stuff on there I wish they didn't include. Now, one of the interesting things about this particular laptop is that it has the NVIDIA graphics card on board, so it uses NVIDIA's Optimus technology, and it has a 310M. Now here's what's kind of weird, is that with most modern laptops now, you can basically just go to NVIDIA's website and grab the drivers and you can install it. The weird thing was, so this is version 259.41. When I went to NVIDIA's website, I tried to install the latest version of the graphics drivers for the 310M. It actually wouldn't let me. It gave me an error message saying that the drivers weren't compatible with this laptop. So I don't know if Samsung's done something a little bit different in order to maybe only allow you to install graphics drivers that you get directly from Samsung, but I'm not a real big fan of that. Like, I really think that you should be able to get the graphics drivers you want. But on the plus side with the graphics, let me reposition the camera here slightly. Now, I'm going to fire up Call of Duty here. Actually, I'm going to mute the sound first. I'm going to fire up Call of Duty. This is basically just, this is Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. This is just a demo version that I downloaded and I kind of use it to benchmark. However, I will point out, I haven't plugged in this time. I've made a mistake in some of my previous laptop reviews where I've shown gaming performance, but I haven't had it plugged in, and of course that makes it a little bit difficult to show you, how good the graphics performance really is if it's not plugged in and using the high-powered graphics card. So I'll just click through some of this. I'll show you just real briefly. I'm doing this at 1366 by 768, so it's the native resolution and 2x anti-aliasing. So what that means is that the quality is actually going to be pretty good. It's not, you're not notching down the quality, severely, and you're not running out of, you're not having to sacrifice visual quality for the frame rates, I guess is what I'm actually trying to say. So we'll just wait for this to load up here. overall, I found the frame rate to be very acceptable. I didn't run fraps or anything like that to capture what the frame rate was. Boy, but I thought this would load a little bit quicker. Okay, anyway, here we go. So the frame rate is very playable. To my eyes, this probably looks like it's about 30 frames per second. That might mean that it would actually slow down a little bit if you got into a situation where you had a lot of things happening on the screen at the same time. So what's the takeaway here? The takeaway is that, well, I wouldn't say that this is a gaming laptop. Boy, there's so much glare you can barely see it. It's actually not all that great. This isn't a gaming laptop per se, but what I will say is that the graphics card that it comes with is certainly good enough for, I would say, sort of mainstream gaming needs. And of course, you can always bump down the resolution if you really want to get better graphics performance. So enough about the graphics card. Let's talk about the battery life. So this is one of the things that I was actually fairly impressed with. I ran the Really Refreshing test, which again, if you're not familiar with that, if you go to reallyRefreshing.com, this is a tool that a friend of mine and I we came up with, and it's actually a way to benchmark your battery by randomly loading a bunch of web pages. Every minute it loads a new web page, and you basically just leave the laptop to run, and it will actually tell you how long it runs for. So this particular laptop ran 5 hours and 53 minutes, if my camera can actually focus in properly. There we go. 5 hours and 53 minutes. So near 6 hours. This is with the screen at 50% brightness, basically half brightness. Obviously, Wi-Fi is turned on. Volume was muted, but if you're basically you're doing stuff online, and this includes, you know, flash things loading and real graphics and whatnot, this laptop is going to last about 6 hours. So the first test was 5 hours 53 minutes, 5 hours 58 minutes, and 5 hours and 46 minutes. So it was extremely repeatable. You know, basically you're going to get about 5 3/4 of an hour, 6 hours in terms of the battery life. So Samsung did a good job with that, and frankly, I have to say that that's probably one of the only really impressive things about this laptop is the battery life. Everything else, it's not that it's bad, but it's just sort of very average. There's not a lot of things that really stand out when I was using this laptop. So let's talk about the PC Mark score. So when I benchmarked this using PC Mark Vantage 1.0.2, it came out with a score of 5,550 PC marks. And then if you look at the breakdown of that score, basically, you know, 3417 on the memories, 3661 on TV and movies, 3506 on the gaming, 6,000 and change on music. Everything else is pretty standard. The hard drive, you know, 3572. That's one of the things I wish they had done, is actually put in a 7200 RPM hard drive. So this thing only has a 5400 RPM hard drive. That's not bad, but it's not great. You know, I think at this price point, 7200 RPM hard drive should pretty much be standard. So we talked about the PC Mark score. I'll show you this FurMark thing. It's kind of cool. If this is really just basically for your own reference. If you want to run FurMark, just Google FurMark, and it actually loads this fuzzy little donut. But the interesting thing is that it actually tells you, and I'll just zoom in up here, it tells you the frames per second that it's generating. So basically it's about 12 frames per second, and it tells you what it's using to render. So basically now, you know, 14, 15 frames per second. So this is a super strenuous test, and frankly a lot of lesser laptops would manage maybe, you know, 3 to 4 frames per second. So this shows that the graphics potential of this laptop is quite good. It's not, you know, fantastic, like I said, it's not a gaming laptop per se, but overall pretty good tool in terms of that. And other things, how fast did it boot up? It boots up in about 30 seconds, give or take, 31 seconds, so decent boot time. Would be a little bit better, I think, if it had a 7200 RPM hard drive. Shuts down in about 12 seconds, so decent value there. One of the things I didn't like about it was the touchpad. So let me just go down here. So on the plus side, it's got a nice big touchpad, which I appreciate. The weird thing is that I found myself very often it would misclick. So, you know, I would move over here and then I would click with my thumb, and then it wouldn't click, or I would, you know, click and try to drag and it wouldn't drag properly. So I don't know exactly what Samsung did with the touchpad, but I'm not really a big fan. I think that this particular area could use a little bit of work. Now, when it comes down to pricing, I don't tend to talk about pricing very often with laptops, but I think in this case it's kind of important for me to mention pricing. So in Canada, this particular laptop in this version is selling for $899 from Future Shop. So $899 gets you a relatively, you know, thin laptop. It's not super thick, but it's not, you know, razor thin either. It's got a bit of heft to it, but it gives you really nice finish. It gives you that roughly 6 hours of kind of real world web surfing battery life. It gives you a decent, you know, graphics processor, 4 gigs of RAM, 640 gig hard drive. So overall, there's a lot of there's a decent amount of value, I guess, with this particular laptop. Now, the weird thing is that, you know, for me, I usually like to go to extremes, right? You know, if I'm going to get a big laptop, I want it to be burly, I want it to have a Core i7, and it's going to be really expensive. Or, you know, sometimes I'm going to go really small, in which case I want something that's super thin, super small, and super light. This is sort of a run-of-the-mill, you know, basic laptop. For being a 14-inch laptop, it's fairly portable. I really like the finish. The finish does pick up fingerprints a little bit, but overall, I mean, the brushed metal is really nice. It's nice to look at, and it's certainly better than a lot of the finishes out there that have that like a glossy black plastic that pick up fingerprints everywhere. Yeah, overall, I think that this laptop has a lot of value. One of the nice things about it is that it does have HDMI out. It doesn't have USB 3, but that's pretty rare to find on laptops nowadays. It's kind of hard to find. This laptop, I think, would make a really good choice for, you know, students. If you're looking for a general purpose kind of around the house laptop and you want it to be able to play, you know, high def video really nicely, you want to have decent battery life, this is a really good purchase. I would certainly recommend it. But if you're looking for something smaller or, you know, or something more powerful, you're probably going to end up either spending a little bit more money or going for something that's going to be in kind of the 12-inch to 13-inch range. But overall, I think the Samsung QX410 is a good product. It's worth serious consideration if you're looking for sort of a middle-of-the-road laptop that has enough CPU power and enough GPU power to basically do most of what you would want. You can certainly do photo editing. This thing would handle video editing reasonably well as long as you're using video editing software that takes advantage of the graphics processor. For something like that, I would suggest Cyberlink. They have some Power Director 9 is one such video editor. So this has been Jason Dunn from Laptop Thoughts. I hope you've enjoyed this review. Please rate the review, post a comment if you have any questions. I'll do my best to answer them. Subscribe to our channel and check out the ads that are running alongside this video. That's how these videos kind of get paid for, and if you check out the ads, you're supporting the work that I do here. So thanks a lot for watching.